I'm Beck and welcome to a video where I am unhauling books. It is time for them to go. I have a whole stack if you couldn't tell from my huge thumbnail. So without further ado, let's get into the older and newer books that I don't plan on keeping. I'll start with an author that's quite topical at the moment because personally, I enjoy her books, but it sometimes just gets to the point where I have too many copies of something, and these books in particular have a reprint and a new edit and everything, and me saying that might have made you go, oh, I know who she's talking about, and that would be Samantha Shannon. So I'm getting rid of more of her older editions. So The Bone Season here, The Mask Falling, which is book 4. I've also actually got a special edition of some of these books. So, you know, The Song Rising is a special edition, but it's got the orange stained pages and it's a signed copy that was like a selected printing. So some of these I'm just going to go and donate to used bookstores because in Australia we don't have half-price books and credits and stuff, which I am so annoyed about every single time I have to get rid of books. Like, I want to get rid of books, get a credit, and get new books. Anyway, I'm trying to sell this, so hopefully it sells. These shouldn't sit in a pile in the corner of my study or office anymore. They need to go. And yeah, included in that is the hardcover of one of the old covers too. So I've got a few of these to take listing photos for. And I would like to reiterate that I enjoy this series. I've got a recap of The Bone Season. I've got a review of The Bone Season. I'm eager to continue reading the rest of the books, and the next one is coming out in January 2025 that's completely and utterly new. So that's why she's doing this whole revamp of the series. So I do like them, but yeah, I don't want to keep these. It's just getting to the point where there's too much. I've then got a random graphic novel called Check Please, and this was a cute story about like queer romance, hockey and baking, and I read it once. It did not stick in my memory. It's not particularly noticeable. I think at the time I gave it 3 stars. I don't really care about it, to be honest. So I've got no connection, no emotional connection, no warm feelings. I'm getting rid of this one because I can't be bothered holding on to it anymore. These next 3 books that I am so excited to get rid of are by an author that I thought I loved and realized that I no longer do, except for one title of hers in particular, and that is V.E. Schwab. I do not care about these anymore. This is The Tunnel of Bones and The Bridge of Souls, which are the sequels to City of Ghosts, and it's her middle grade series about the main character who is young and can see ghosts, and her family are traveling, like, not ghost hunters, but they make a TV show about ghosts and they can't see them, they don't believe in them. But she had a near-death experience when she was a kid and can therefore see ghosts. So whenever they travel around to these ghost, I don't know, iconic places around the world, she has experience with seeing all these ghosts and interacting with them, and her best friend is a ghost as well. So yeah, it's like a fine series, but I don't feel any need to hold on to these anymore. I really lost interest in each book as it came out. I don't even know what the series is up to now. I'm more than happy to get rid of these. And then more recently, I've got a book that I gave 2 stars by this author, and I have a spoiler review of it. If you are interested in checking it out, I'll link it down below because it is worth seeing my frustration for The Fragile Threads of Power. I did a whole recap of the trilogy because I thought I need to refresh my memory in case I end up liking it, and all of the issues I had with the trilogy I had with this as well, because I thought this would cover new characters, new blood, new story, and it just followed a whole bunch of perspectives from the old characters whom I have a strong dislike for. So reading this, I thought, why am I subjecting myself to this torture? And now that it's a 2 stars and I've done a spoiler review, I can safely get rid of it. So that is what I'm doing. I am liberating myself. Similarly, by way of liberation, I am also getting rid of this one by Sebastian de Castell, which is one of his continuations of the Greatcoats Quartet. I am, in my mind, separating the Greatcoats Quartet from anything else he has written recently because it is just not hitting, not nearly the same or even not nearly enough. And case in point, I did not finish this one. I got 64 pages into it. I still remember the exact number of pages I got into it before I put this down because I was so angry at the main character. And then similarly with Play of Shadows, which thankfully I got on audiobook, I did not love that storytelling as much as I thought. It was decidedly better than this, but still probably not worth my time, and I've been on the fence about continuing and I don't think I will anymore. So sadly, Sebastian de Castell is out, and I've also got these by Sebastian de Castell, and these ones are part of his, you know, young adult series. So the Spellslinger books and series are one that I absolutely adored, and it had a spin-off prequel series about Faru Parfax, who is the mentor character in Spellslinger, and I thought, oh, she's 18 in these books, I'd like to see where she comes from because she's so intriguing. And the story at the beginning was great, and it had that Sebastian de Castell character tension and development and that whole existential deep diving that I love when his characters can involve themselves in the story that way. But in this series, it just really dropped the ball, and I'm so disappointed. And I think the most recent one, Fall of the Argosy, came out recently this year, and I was so mad at how bad it was because, anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's why I'm getting rid of them. It has been a long time coming. I almost forgot that I had these to unhaul because they've just been sitting out of sight, out of mind. So to get rid of them, it's really going to free up that last little bit of mental space that they just happen to be taking up. And of course, as soon as I start filming a video, someone nearby starts mowing their lawn. Isn't that always the way? Then I've got 2 books that I recently started reading and then did not finish. And one of them was If I Never Met You, which is a fake dating romance story with 2 lawyers that are rivals or enemies and then fall in love. But before that happens, this main character gets cheated on by her longtime partner and then broken up with just as they are both deciding to have kids together, and then he goes and knocks someone else up. All of this is in the synopsis, so none of that is a spoiler. But I got 20-something% into this and I was like, I hate everybody. So I thought, I'm not connecting at all. This is supposed to be a fun rom-com romance with the enemies to lovers, but clearly I just missed the ball on my expectations for this, and then I just wasn't connecting to the style of writing either. So I put this down in a rage because I thought I was going to have a good time. Look at this cover. It's such a nice, pretty color. I thought I was going to have a great time. And then after that one, I decided, I'm going to read more Robert Jackson Bennett because I loved City of Stairs. However, City of Blades, I DNF'd. I put this down 30% in. I gave it a good try, but I think because this can be read as a series of standalones or like companions, I was reading about this character and it was so different to City of Stairs. So City of Stairs is following a scholar named Shara, and she is coming to this site of a murder and trying to solve this murder. However, when she is investigating, her sidekick is like the muscle and she is the brains behind the operation. And I loved that she called all of the shots, and she was a character who took things on and thought about them rather than necessarily being impulsive in action. She obviously was impulsive in action in some ways, but you could see her thought process first, and that's what I really appreciated about her. And then you go into this book, and the main character in this one is a shoot first, don't ask questions later kind of character, and I just found her incredibly tiresome to read about. In addition to that, she's investigating another murder, but it's at this very removed location, and she's got to wade through the politics of all of the local clans, and I just have absolutely zero interest in this whatsoever. And it seemed like it was dangling some information throughout the book, but it was dangling it in a way that kind of like showed you that it was there and then took it away, so you couldn't get any kind of context and you didn't have enough time to ask questions about it, and it wasn't intriguing, it was just annoying. So I thought, no, after the 5th try reading this book, I'm going to give up on it because it's slowing down all of my other reading. And after I decided to get rid of it, I felt so much more free. So I am happy that I put this down. Sad because I gave this other book, City of Stairs, a 5 stars, and I've DNF'd this one. So what are the chances? Now, this next one might surprise you because I have given the first book in this series a 4 and then the second book a 3 stars. And the next one is coming out, I think, late 2024, but I have decided to collectively just not continue that series. I've been feeling like up and down about it for the past 6-7 months, and I finally settled on a decision, and that is I don't want to continue it. And that is Black Sun and Fevered Star. Mirrored Heavens is the 3rd book, I think, and Black Sun was so incredible in the way that it just reached out of the page and yanked me right into the story. It had such incredible world building, action, and I just felt the fast pace throughout the entire book. I loved it so much. But then in this one, what this one set up with all of the different characters coming together, this one really cut through all of that, and not in a good way, because it separated so many of those fundamental relationships and contextual places that the characters were in. And because it fractured the story that had been set up in book 1, I thought, I'm no longer interested. Like, the significance of these characters interacting is fading with every single page to me. And even though I gave it a 3 stars, I would probably look back on it and give it a 2 just because it fell so flat for me. So I'm glad that I took the time to think about these, because initially I was, hopeful and they had so much promise, but then I thought I just need to let go of my 4-star experience with this because it's not going to a place that I enjoy. Like the way it ended, it's setting things up to even further distance everyone or further distance the intent of the world building, and I thought I'm not interested in that whatsoever. So unfortunately, these are also going because man, it had such promise. I'm so upset about it, but I need to let it go so I can emotionally heal. And then speaking of emotionally healing, I'm still salty about this if you couldn't tell. I have a review of the 3rd book in this series and another recap for the first 2 books, so you can see that I was invested. And that is the Atlas 6 series by Olivia Blake. So I read obviously the first 2 books and I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to continue these for sure. So I gave this a 4.5 and then a 4 stars. On reflection, I'd probably give this a 3 because there was so much pussyfooting around of the characters. They were just not doing anything and talking. And then in the 3rd book, that got even worse. These characters just kept dancing around the intent of what they what they all wanted to do, and they weren't actually doing anything at all. And they just did complete 180s on their character development. There were 2 books setting them up already. It didn't need to be another book of talking. My review has spoiler free up to like 3 minutes in, and then I just deep dive into spoilers and why I'm so angry about this. So if you had similar feelings, rest assured that I am right there with you. I have zero desire to hold on to this series, and I'm so disappointed because for a dark academia morally grey story, it's set up pretty well, and I got so annoyed that it just completely diluted everything. These characters did not make any sense. There was no point to them in this book, in my opinion. I don't know why this book was written. Getting rid of these will make me feel so much better, and the fact that I already had them on a pile to unhaul already makes me feel so much better about them. So I'm going to clear them out of my study, out of my house, out of my life, and I'm looking forward to it. But therein ends my unhaul video. I am now due to do a book haul, and above me you can't see, but I've actually got empty squares in my bookshelf. I really want to go out and buy books to fill those squares, but I feel like because I've had so many series this year that have ended poorly, I'm really apprehensive about buying new books. So give me some recommendations of some books that you loved, because maybe I'll love them too. But thank you so much for watching this video. Come and chat to me down below about a book that really disappointed you as well, because I don't want to feel alone. But thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.